Alright, let's hop into it, guys. Brand new Diablo patch notes. Now, originally, I was just thinking this is going to be just a few different changes in terms of like bug fixes, which I actually kind of expect to kind of see as the game progresses. There are massive, and I mean massive nerfs hidden in here, and the reason why I say it's kind of hidden is because you got nerfed in real time and didn't even notice it because of the way that they changed some of the numbers on your pieces of gear. To go ahead and actually show you guys this quick clip via Rob over here. He had an item that had 23,000 damage, right? So it's almost 24,000 and...
There's no way. 24,000 to 9,000.
So he got nerfed in real time. What actually caused this was actually this, and this affects all classes, by the way. It's not just one class. It's not just like, oh, that particular thing got nerfed. No, it actually comes down to the aspect. So the aspects would have an issue, I guess. It says fix an issue where the aspects that deal flat damage imprinted through the codex of power scale with player level instead of item power. Now, this affects lots of different builds, notably the Barbarian, as I play Thorn's Barbarian. That is actually a massive nerf. You're probably seeing some of your items, they actually have just way lower numbers now, and that's because of this change. Now, what also got changed with this, that I can think of off the top of my head that I'm currently messing around with, is anyone that is playing like Blizzard, the little ice spikes that would come down, that would also get nerfed. Basically, anything that has numerical numbers on damage. But it doesn't actually just stop there, guys. It's actually even worse because even in this, this is the same clip via Rob here, there is also a change with stuff that's not even related to damage. So if you guys have any armor pieces that have the protector, that's the granting yourself the barrier, that actually got nerfed as well, and to give you the lowest roll. Even though the patch notes say that it's supposed to be flat damage, it's actually anything that is flat numerical numbers as far as I'm aware of. We'll have to do some more testing. This patch just came out. But yeah, that's actually pretty insane. So that is like the biggest change here. So I want to start off the video by explaining what actually is this major nerf, because this is across all classes, okay? But if it's a percent one, you may be okay. Again, there could be some, exceptions to this rule, but that's like the biggest change here. All right, so what else got changed? Because there are some buffs, okay? And there's actually going to be, surprisingly, a really good rogue buff. All right, so starting right off, there is a multiplier for Frozen Orb that wasn't applying correctly, so there is potentially a pretty big buff for Frozen Orb. If it's not like applying at all, then maybe now we have more damage unless the issue is less. So I'm guessing that Frozen Orb might be a little bit better. I'll do some testing and let you guys know, as Frozen Orb was one of my favorite things in Diablo 2, and in Diablo 4, it's not really usable, right? And then they fixed like a Vortex affix where you can do damage through immunity. There's the elixirs. So the elixir of expertise wasn't working properly. They changed the value, so this is actually going to be a buff because it was only reducing it by 10% instead of 20%. So this is a 10% buff, but it's because the wording was kind of just glitched, I guess. Anyways, next up, the subdue glyph. I looked up what this was. This is a blue glyph. It doesn't matter at all. No one plays with the blue glyphs anyways, for the most part. This is a nerf to gores. Those are the gloves. Honestly, I was talking to my community about this, and we were kind of deciding that the gores gloves, because they got nerfed previously, I just signed them out as like not even usable. I was also noticing that I felt like they don't even work like at all. They just seem like they just don't happen to have enough damage there. And then on top of that, they fixed a guaranteed overpower a thing with the Barbarian's Earth Striker's aspect. It would be consumed upon gaining any other buff. So this is going to be technically a buff. So you'd get a guaranteed overpower. But what would happen is it would just be like used by something else. Anyways, this is the massive rogue buff, and it's mostly a glitch fix, but oh my gosh, this is absolutely amazing for rogues. So if any of you guys, if you shadow step, and it was one of my favorite skills in the game, but I was even dropping it because I'm like, dude, it's just so annoying. So if you played rogue, when you use shadow step, that's the teleport, where it would break any like rue or freeze. What would happen is you would activate it, and sometimes it would target something outside of the range, and then your character would literally just like be stuck and you couldn't do anything. It was absolutely terrible. So they have actually apparently changed this. I'll let you guys know if it's actually fixed, because they've been trying to fix this for quite some time and it never really officially got fixed. So if this completely fixes this, this is a huge buff to rogue, especially in PvP, where well, it would sometimes, especially on control, if you would target something that couldn't be targeted, you would just be stuck in place and you would just die. So this is massive. Anyways, next up, they fixed an issue where a player couldn't rotate using channeling skill if you used a one-handed with no offhand. This is like very, very, very niche. I don't see very many incinerate sorceresses, but nonetheless, there's an issue with the cursed scroll where it had a different cooldown. It's like, whatever, it doesn't really matter. There's actually a buff with a necromancer. So I already talked about the aspects where you would have the imprint, which I showed you guys the clip of Rob, where, yeah, you're getting your items that you already have. By the way, this is not something where it's like, okay, now if I use the imprint, it's lower. No, your items that you already have equipped, the items that you already have, they actually got changed. So you're going to have to update them with some sort of new imprint on it, which is massive. I really feel like this over here should have been something where they at least give us some gold back or something, because this is just, it's a massive nerf to a lot of different things. Again, Blizzard Sorceress, Thorns Barbarian off the top of my head, those are the two that I would be affected by. So yeah, make sure you look at your items because you all got nerfed in real time. Anyways, next up, as far as Necromancer Shadow Mages, they weren't applying extra shadow damage, so I would assume this would be considered a buff, but I wasn't using that anyways. I was always using the cold one for the extra resource. But anyways, next up, there's a cheat death effect wouldn't activate when you die on a mountain. It's like, whatever, not that big of a deal. They fixed a bunch of different bugs over here. The most important thing, really at the end of the day, because there's just a bunch of like small bug fixes, and I didn't really feel like these were super important to mention. However, there is one important thing that I do want to mention, which is the Helltide chest can now drop uniques. Now, if you guys saw, this was actually something that got patched quite fast. And I'll go over this one in a second. I want to show you guys a different post that is related to this that is going to be coming today with a buff. So they changed some of the bosses, had their health pools and damage output reduced, and then the cap for crafting materials got increased if you were like maxed out on Rawhide specifically. Yeah, it kind of was annoying, especially on controller, because if you would try to pick up an item and it was next to Rawhide, it would just like be like, you can't pick up Rawhide, and then message would appear. Okay, it's a nice fix, but nonetheless, this is the important thing. So the Helltide chest can now drop uniques, making Helltides a more viable way to farm perhaps unique items. Now, this was actually something that did get nerfed. Okay, so this got nerfed yesterday. When I was streaming, I was like, dude, guys, we're going to get a Shaco, because everyone started posting on Reddit and stuff. They're like, dude, I got a Shaco. Like, several people got Shacos yesterday for a short amount of time. Now, it has been disabled, but it's going to be fixed apparently today. It says, which is expected to be implemented on Friday afternoon, which this post was, yeah, 12 hours ago. So this is like today and yesterday, technically. And it says the other unique items will still be available from these chests. So if you're still missing the Tempest, you know, the Druid helmet, or any unique that you really wanted to get, this could be still a good way to get it. But on Friday, apparently that's when the hotfix will be coming out, so we can try to farm Shaco once again. But overall, let me know what you think of these patch notes. Again, there's like some small buffs. I mean, at the end of the day, I really want to try out this Frozen Orb. If Frozen Orb becomes like meta, I would be actually really ecstatic, because that's something I wanted to play. I'm actually hoping that Chain Lightning will get a buff, but there's going to be another patch that comes out on the 18th. We're just going to have more new uniques and more legendary powers, and I'll go over those for you guys when that does come out. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the patch notes. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here and do want to be up to date on more Diablo patch notes as well as videos, subscribe to the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.